Yeah, these are the lessons that the game taught me the hard way, right? The first lesson, right? First things first. The first lesson that I learned, it's not the first lesson that I learned, but one of the most important lessons that I learned the hard way is, shout out to my man Rated R from Tampa, these hoes be fucking. Say that with me again, fellas. These hoes be fucking. What does that mean? That means women are just as sexual as you, and they are going to explore that. I don't in a society, Western society, not even Western societies, but any society that's developed, any society that's developed, whether you in whatever country you're in, whatever, if you're in a city where it's a bunch of people and there's commerce and there's motion, so to speak, there are going to be women that's exercising their sexuality. Now, when it comes to, I don't know about in other cultures as far as like them promoting women being sexually liberated, but in Western cultures, United States, Canada, UK, and all of this, Europe and a lot of countries in Europe, they promote women being sexually free, right? And so women are going to explore their options. Now, my man Rated R is a rapper from Tampa. Shout out to Rated R. Came out with a song in 2003, right? A rapper from Tampa. Shout out to Tampa. That's my hometown. Came out with a song called These Hoes Be Fucking, right? I ain't even supposed to be in here tonight, but all these thick ass hoes here tonight. He's in the back drinking yikes, smoking sykes, but these hoes fucking, what? Fucking. Look, me and my producer about to go crazy over that, but that was the jam back in the days, right? But basically the song was about letting dudes know, don't trip, because they doing what they gonna do. They doing what they gonna do. And I learned that the hard way. When I was growing up, I was thinking that, you had your ones that wasn't, and you had your ones that were. And so we sought out to make our girls the ones who weren't, right? But what we didn't understand was, it wasn't that they wasn't, it's just that they was quiet about it, right? Now, I'm not saying they was letting the whole basketball team run a train, or, they was super, super loose with it, but women, especially young women, are going to go through that thing, right? And so, again, we would try to, my thing when I was younger was this the good girl. And I get on that good girl thing in a minute, but this the good one, she ain't like that, so I'm going to wife her, right? But not knowing she is like that, she just not sloppy about it. She just not messy about it like some other chicks are, or she may not be extreme with it. She may not be having one night stands or, going to the club, popping around. But if she meet what she like, that do something to her, or that click with her, she gonna go just as much as everybody else gonna go, especially younger women. Now, women grow out of this. Generally, women grow out of this after they hit 25, 26, 27, right? But, and again, this is not every single woman. So don't be like, oh, well, my sister or my girl. And okay, if you got a girl that was, locked in a basement and went to church every day, cool. Majority of women ain't like that, right? But anyway, so back, we would try to find these types of women. And what I learned was they all fucking, and they all for somebody, right? They all for somebody. You dig what I'm saying? And because you're not the best person that they can date. And I'm not trying to say this hypergamy and this monkey branching thing, but typically younger women want to explore first. They want to go through their phase first before they get locked down, especially in American culture, right? And so, they gonna do their thing, right? So I remember, right? And another thing I learned with this situation is, wherever you meet her, that's probably who she is, right? So we're gonna tie that into this. I remember that I met this chick. This chick was probably one of the first women that I dated outside of a school setting. Cause I had just got my diploma. 'Cause I didn't get my diploma from high school like regular. I got my diploma from Job Corps. So I was just coming back from Job Corps, which is a school setting, right? So the chicks that I was dealing with there was in school and in school with me, and even in high school, chicks that was in school. But this was one of the first chicks that I dealt with, like out of a school setting, that had graduated, she was grown, I was grown, we was 18, right? And I met her in a club, right? And another thing, this is when I learned, if your girl hugged the bouncer, that if you go to the club with her and she hugged the bouncer, it's a wrap. Sidebar, let me sidebar this, say this. Take your girl to the club. If you go out to the club with your girl or go out to a party and she hugged the bouncer or the promoter, she red flag, fam. She for the streets, trust me. But anyway, so this girl, I met her in the club. We hit it off, whatever. And again, I'm 18 years old. I think I'm a player, but I still don't, you know, I'm fresh, I'm green, right? As far as, especially in the street world, the adult game of life. The playing with high school hoes and all that was cool, but I'm in the big leagues now, right? This ain't high school old. So meet this chick, we hit it off, meet her in the club. So we end up dating, like seriously. I end up dating this chick seriously. I want to say her name, but I ain't gonna do it like that. You know, she was very into me, very attracted to me. But I found out the hard way that she was going through a phase when she met me. You see what I'm saying? I met her in the club, right? I met her in the club, whatever. She went out probably maybe twice a month, something like that. She went out like some chicks be going out like 3-4 times a week, but she wasn't really like that. But, you know, I thought she was quote unquote a decent chick. I thought she was at the time. See what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, hey, you know, I got me something at least halfway decent. You see what I'm saying? And she fine. Puerto Rican chick. And she fine. She sexy. The whole nine. So, okay, we could, you know, I could rock with this a little bit, right? But boy, did I learn that these hoes be fucking, right? I remember sliding the first time I remember sliding, I'm trying to get it, and this is before, let me set the tone. This is before cell phones and all this shit, right? Cell phones were very expensive, and she didn't have a cell phone, so, you know, you had to call the mom's crib or whatever. And it was not uncommon to pull up on people. Like right now, if somebody show up at your house, you're gonna be like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? If you don't hear from somebody right now, or you know, somebody come to your house and you ain't heard from them, it's gonna be crazy, because it's like nowadays, it's like you should have texted me before you called. I mean, before you came, or you could have called me before you came. But back then it wasn't like that. It was, especially young, it was acceptable. Let's say I ain't seen my homeboy or whatever, I can't get a hold, or I ain't heard from him, I just slide to his crib and be like, hey, yo, what's up? Let's slide. Or you go to your home, or you go to your chick house, you go knock on the door, you know, you ain't called them or nothing like that. That was commonplace back then. That wasn't seen as like weird, stalky behavior back then. So, you know, me and my homies, we in the car, we sliding. Me and my homies in the car, we sliding around. I'm like, hey, we was in the area that, you know, she be at one of her friends' house or whatever. So I was like, let's go slide over here and see what's up with them. So we slide over there. And again, think about it. This is pre-cell phone, right? Cell phones was out, but they was very, very expensive, right? And everybody didn't have one. So, you know, I didn't know her homegirl's house number or nothing, but it wasn't uncommon for you to slide on people, because she'll slide to my crib or whatever. But so I slid over there. We go over there. Me and my homeboy come like, stop at old girl house and see what they up to. So we go over there. It's her, like 3 other dudes, and where they was at, the door was open. They was having a little party and the door was open. And so I go in there. It's like her, 5 other girls, and 5 other dudes. And she up on a dude. Like one of the dudes, she up on this dude, like on him. Like, I'm like, damn, bro. I ain't make no scene. I ain't cause no fuss. I just saw that and I just slid off. You see what I'm saying? It ain't like she can text me like, hey, come back. I just slid off. So she come looking for me. A couple days later, she come looking for me. Oh, it wasn't nothing like that. You know, he was just drunk, or we was just drunk. It wasn't like that. I ain't believe it, but I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, right? So I slide on her again, but it's a couple months later. I may tell some stories about this chick because this quote unquote relationship with this chick, it taught me a lot at my young age of 18, and I have a lot of it was very eventful dealing with this chick. But so I go couple months pass by or whatever, and I'm trying to get a hold of her again or whatever. So I go to her she live with her mom. So I go to her mom crib, right? She go to her mom crib. I go to her mom crib. I'm like, hey, what's up with such and such and such? She like, oh, she in the hospital. She in the hospital. She got into a really bad car accident. I'm like, damn, yeah. She was like, I'm like, damn, for real? She like, yeah, with some guy named such and such and such. So I knew who the dude was. I'm like, she this dude, because I knew who he was or whatever. So I called my homie. I'm like, hey, what's the name and what's the name? Fuck around. Because the dude is not my homie, but I know of the dude because a homie of my homie, they homies, if that makes sense. So I called the homie of my homie, like, hey, they around? He like, yeah. You know, and back then women could kind of bounce around, you know, outside of it, so long as it wasn't in the same like circle or the next circle over or the same network. It was easier for women to bounce around and do dope because there was really no social media. MySpace was starting to take off, but a lot of people wasn't really using MySpace at this particular time. You had Black Planet, but Black Planet everybody wasn't using Black Planet, and most people didn't have computers or laptops and stuff like that. So I dude tell me, yeah, they doing their thing or whatever. And you know, again, it was hard. It was easier for women so long as they were smart about it and kind of like did their thing outside of different networks of dudes, they could slut around and you really wouldn't know. You see what I'm saying? Because you couldn't see it really, right? Unless you caught him. So he tell me, yeah, and this dude wasn't in my network or another network. He was in a two, three networks over, if that makes sense, in street terms. But so which confirms it for me. He confirmed it for me. So I'm like, damn, this chick in the car with a dude, basically cheating on me, and get into a car wreck, damn near about to die, right? So I just was like, I took that, it stung. That wasn't one of them ones I was like hurt and distraught and disgusted. I don't know why, but that wasn't one of them ones that like broke me. But I just started like thinking about all the stuff that people taught me of, oh, you know, she hugged a bouncer, or if she'd go to the club, or if you meet her at the club, you know, and Rated R song was out at the time, these hoes be fucking. So I just associated her with that, right? When I think of that song, these hoes be fucking, when I think of that lesson, I think of this chick, right? Because she wasn't really, like, she did go to the club, but it's like, this is what you expect of young people, right? And at the time, it's like, I thought everybody went to the fucking club, to be honest with you. Like, I thought everybody went and partied at our age at some point, you know what I'm saying? But she wasn't in there like 2-3 times a week, or, you know. But when we did go, I remember I did go with her, and she hugged the bouncer, and she knew the promoter and shit like this. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, so I find out about this. I find out that I put everything into perspective. So as I'm coming along, right? And I was still kind of dealing with her, but it wasn't, you know, it was like here or there. We hit a couple times, but I wasn't really taking her too serious after that. But as I'm growing in the game and you like meeting new people, now I'm starting to go to jail and stuff like this. Like, she in every network. You see what I'm saying? I said that to say this was probably the biggest slut I know. If I could put a body count on her, it'll probably be in the hundreds. You see what I'm saying? Throughout her life, like, she was like that. And I dealt with this chick when I was 18. You know, you be in jail talking, or you be somewhere else talking, and everybody talking about hoes, and her name always came up. No matter what network I was in, no matter what group of dudes I was talking to, her name always came up, right? I'm glad that when I was like starting to hear stuff about this, that wasn't my girl at the time. But yeah, these hoes be fucking. I'm gonna say her name again, right? These hoes be fucking, and if it walk like a duck, right? If it quack like a duck, it's more than likely a duck. It's more than likely a duck. Now, let me just say this: when I say these hoes be fucking, that don't mean they super sluts like this chick turned out to be, right? This chick was fun to hang with too. This chick was very fun, very fun chick to be around. But you know, it don't mean that they super sluts. It don't mean that they got 100 bodies or they got, you know, a whole basketball team. they got a whole basketball team of dudes, or they letting every dude hit it. It don't mean that. When I say that, it just means that, you know, when they going through this phase, they susceptible to more susceptible to casual sex. You know, the guys that they like, it's easier for them to you know, give it up. Now, if you add trauma and what do you call it? Not stress, but traumas and going through stuff as a kid, or you add alcohol or drugs into the mix, it makes it even worse for a woman young and fertile going through this phase. It makes it even worse when you add this stuff into the mix. Empty voids, feeling needy, feeling inadequate, low self-esteem, because guys are coming at them when they're young and they hot. Guys are coming at them constantly. You see what I'm saying? And the guys that's coming at them constantly, especially when they just get into the game, they don't have the awareness as a 29-year-old who done been through the shit. They green and they goofy and they going for anything when they're younger like that. You see what I'm saying? So they getting cracked. This is why a lot of them, when they can't lock down something in this phase, and they be getting cracked, or you know, they be getting ran through. They get bitter towards men, and they say all men want to do is have sex, because they don't know how to bring value to a man. They haven't been taught how to keep a man and bring value. So guys are just hitting it and quitting it, and they feeling inadequate, and it's traumatizing them, and so they get salty, they get jaded, and it's like, oh, all men are dogs, all men wanted sex, men this, men that, men that. It's the same way when women, you know, you keep going on dates and you keep getting ghosted after the date. You'll get salty after a while. You see what I'm saying? You know, but it don't mean that they super sluts when they're going through this phase. But again, they're more open to casual sex. They're more open to getting ran through and getting played, and getting swindled and getting bamboozled by real players that's adults who got some real knowledge. You see what I'm saying? And of course, she's an adult, but she ain't. If I'm 24, right, and I meet a chick who's 20, and I've been fucking since I was 14, 15, I'm gonna run circles around her any day, because she don't have the game for that. You see what I'm saying? Especially if all I wanted to do was hit it, and I don't have integrity with it, or I'm a lie, or I'm a lead her on. They more open to stuff like this. You see what I'm saying? So when you sum it all together, these be fucking, bro. That's why I tell you guys, if your girl is under a certain age, it's in America, you in a pointless relationship. More than likely, you in a relationship because you in the simp guy. I mean, you the simp guy. You the guy that's reserved for, you know, the simpy feelings and the energy and the attention, because they still need that at the same time. But if a woman is in a quote unquote serious relationship with you and she's under a certain age, she more than likely don't really take you serious like that. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to be locked down at that age when they're young like that. They want to cash in. You see what I'm saying? They want to get all the attention they can get. They want to get all the fucking validation, right? And on top of all of this, you know, being in this whole phase, and if there's trauma or, you know, feeling inadequate or whatever, on top of all this, if they look halfway decent, they want to cash in on this attention. They want to cash in on this validation. And the side effect of that is sex. You see what I'm saying? So these hoes be fucking. Now, like we used to do, we used to make the mistake, and younger guys make the mistake of looking for the good ones, right? this is the thing, and this is where guys go wrong, right? When you're looking for the good women, right? But with the good women, you associate that, the good women, you associate that with sexuality, their sexuality. That's a huge mistake. Women don't associate their morality with their sexuality. I'm gonna say that again. Women do not associate their sexuality with their morality, or their morality with their sexuality. They don't. So a woman, in her mind, her being a good person has nothing to do with whether she have sex with one dude or 50 dudes, right? This is the key. They know that you associate their sexuality with their morality, right? And so they play on that, right? So they play on that, and so they overdo the goodness, right? All they have to do is act good, right? All they have to do is act good, right? If they act good, or if they act like they in Bible study, or if they act like they don't go out all the time, or if they don't go all the time, go out all the time, or they don't hang out with a bunch of guys or whatever slutty activities, if they don't act like they doing that, they know that in your mind, you're going to believe, okay, she's a good girl. She don't have sex, casually, or she ain't got no high body count. And so they overdo that shit. You see what I'm saying? So you may meet a chick. Let's say today's time, you may meet a chick. So in your mind, a thought is on Instagram, popping ass, shaking ass with the OnlyFans, or putting provocative pictures, right? And so she may say, she knows that you associate that behavior with sexuality, right? And whether she's a good person or not. So what happens is, in order to trick you, she won't post provocatively on the internet. And when you see her staying at home, playing video games, not going out, not posting provocative pictures on the internet, you gonna think that she's a good girl, right? Meaning good girl as in she don't give it up like that, or she ain't out here, or she ain't in no phase and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? That's because they know that you equate their goodness with sexuality, or you equate goodness with sexuality. You equate sexuality with morality. You think if she has sex a lot, that means she's a bad person. So they play on this good girl thing because they know that's how you associate it. That's a mistake. Do not associate a woman's moral compass with her sexuality, because they don't. If they go decide to fuck 100 dudes, right, in their mind, it's not going to make them a bad person. Sometimes, a lot of human beings, and it's not just women, don't want to be bad people, right? But you think, well, if she does this, she's a bad person. They don't think like that. Her sexuality is her sexuality. Her moral compass is her moral compass. Stop making that mistake, fellas. It's not going to serve you, and it only leaves you open to be manipulated, because all they have to do is act good or make you wait a few more days. And then you falling in love with somebody who out there, or who done been out there, right? Whether you like a chick with a high body count or low body count, that's your preference. I'm just arming you with the tools and the knowledge to so you don't get taken advantage of, or you don't get manipulated. Do not associate a woman's moral compass with her sexuality. That's a big mistake, right? And that's why they fake, right? Again, that's why they fake it. That's why they fake it, because they know how you think. That's why they can fake being good and, let me not post the pictures. Or I'm gonna tell him I don't got an Instagram, or, I just meet him, I'm liking him, right? So I know how he think, because I can tell how he talking on a date. So for the next 2-3 months, let me sacrifice going to parties. Because I heard him say on a date about how his ex-girl was going to parties and how he didn't like that, and he thought that she was out there. So for the next 2-3 months, I'm going to sacrifice not going to parties, because he making good money, or he a simp or whatever. I can get some benefit from this. So let me act like, let me behave accordingly, so to speak. It's easy. It's why they fake it, because they know where you at with it, and they know your associations, excuse me. So, fellas, I said all that to say, these be fucking get over it.